All right, how's it going, Process Over Prize family? Today we're tuned in from Orlando, Florida. Myself, two other teammates came down to Orlando to compete in the 2024 IBJJF Pan Ams Tournament. As a team, phenomenal performance, um, competition performance overall. Not quite the medal count that we wanted, but I think the team did well overall. Today I'm joined by Jacques and Marlon. And today we're going to, after they introduce themselves, we're going to talk about competition. Um, why, as much as people complain about IBJJF, complain about competition, why do we continue to do this? Are we just insane? Are we gluttons for punishment? Do we enjoy it? All of the above. So we'll kind of talk about from our experience a little bit about that. But start off, we'll have Jock introduce himself and kind of talk about what brought him to the faith of jiu-jitsu.
Oh man. Yeah, so officially I started training in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, at Harrisburg BJJ Judo. I was there for I don't know, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Thought, this is cool, but it's not really for me. Moved up here several years later and did a trial class at COA and got absolutely tossed around like a rag doll by you in the nogi class. And it just happened to be sheer dumb luck that you opened your open process of a prize that following Saturday. And a buddy of mine, Eric, was like, "Hey man, there's a gym open up right down the road. You want to go to the opening?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" It happened to be your gym, and been there ever since. So what, 8 months, 9 months
Yeah,
now? I'm a blue belt, um, and yeah, the reason I think I stuck with jujitsu or even got back into it was I enjoyed it. I've done other martial arts prior to, and I think it was the environment and culture that really like actually kept me there.
yeah.
But yeah.
Nice, nice. What about you, Marlon?
I'm not gonna go down that one.
Go down rabbit holes. That's why we're here, man.
That's
Bridge
later.
road. You know what I'm saying? So I've been doing. We talked about. I've been doing martial arts for a long time.
Yeah.
And my journey into it has it's been long. I got a lot of that time. Um, just being in the military, you move around a lot. Started training officially training in the back in 20. It was either 2013 or 2014, shortly after graduating jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And Sensei Palmar, shout out P5 Academy. Trained a little bit at the arena, big 300 man all around San Diego. Then got over to South Quantico. Started out with COA, broke my arm, so I lost a little bit. But once I come back, and then the rest was history. Once you open through school, shift over. Uh, and it's been awesome. It's been amazing. And I, I, I will say that just like you've opened up with the glutton for punishment, I think that sadly I'm addicted to crime.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah. There's definitely worse addictions or bad habits to have, right?
Yeah.
Worse things you can be addicted to. Um, for the audience, Marlon's being very humble and modest. Marlon and I have known each other for a decade now. We ran for the Marines. We ran Third Marines together in Hawaii. If you've been in Hawaii, the infantry battalions out there kind of high five. There's not enough room for all three battalions on the island, so literally, two battalions are home. One is always deployed or out doing training. And Marlon and I kind of high five, had mutual friends, but we didn't really meet and start training together until we were at MTRD San Diego around 2014, shortly after he started his journey. And we got to train with some greats there. Jeff Glover would come on base. Jacques when he was still doing his rounds. Yeah, Dean Lister would come. So we got some good roles at a discounted price because at the time, Lieutenant Colonel Joel Hoffman, who's retired, but he trained out at the arena and would bring those guys on base to train with the Marines and in our open mat session. So um, definitely being humble about his experience and his walk all the way up to where he is at purple belt now. But yeah, good time starting out. Let's talk about like the glutton for punishment or competition. So, both of you, first IBJJF Pans experience. What did you think level of competition? Both have done IBJJF tournaments before, but being Pans, which is considered one of like the big tournaments, the Grand Prix tournaments. What was your experience? So we'll start out with you, Jacques.
Yeah. The level of competition was exponentially higher, right? This is my first official blue belt tournament, but as you know, I don't even remember now, what, 7, 8 tournaments as a white belt when I first started out training with you.
Too many.
Yeah. Entered a blue belt Naga as a white belt.
Yeah,
Did
that's right. Yeah.
decent. Won the division. Ended up losing an absolute, but podium in all four divisions. This was coming into this. I felt surprisingly good, but getting out onto the mat, the the pace and the ability of my opponent to just keep ahead of me in his decision making and like his positional play. Just, in my opinion, dominated me. Right. Didn't get subbed, which was great. I didn't feel threatened. Like I didn't feel the threat of a submission. Right. But I couldn't improve my position, which at the end of the day, in my book, it's still the same thing. Right. Like he played the game better than me. He was better than me. There's no doubt in my mind that on that day he was better than me, and it was by a small margin.
Yeah, so we've talked about that before. You know, you get caught in what some people talk about, like your defensive cycle, right? You know, there's a difference. You know, we gripe and complain about the way IBJJF runs the tournaments, the referees, people like playing the strategic part of points. But sometimes you get in kind of like that defensive loop, and it's hard for you to transition. You know, where I guess where do you see where you could have done anything different in preparation to get there, or do you feel like you could have done anything different? Or
In preparation, I honestly I don't know. I think my two main weaknesses, as we've discussed at length, were passing the guard and escaping from bottom side control. Right? And my guard retention as a whole, right? Like those are my main weaknesses, and I felt like I addressed those in a good way, and with enough frequency that it would make a difference. I think I played his game instead of playing my game, right? He came out and was very high energy, very fast paced.
Yeah.
And I think I let that get in my head, and I tried to rush my takedown, my game, and it caused me to not hit the takedown right. His takedown defense was great. I kind of semi went for it, didn't really fully commit, and I think that's what caught me and put me in the
defensive
cycle. That cycle you talked about.
How do you think? So you trained for a little while without competing. Mm-hmm. Have you seen a difference in your growth or your, I guess maybe comfort or proficiency level in when you were just kind of training day to day, and then when you started competing? Did you see a difference in like yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. When the main difference was I started training with more intentionality.
Gotcha. Focus.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Instead of coming into class and just doing the technique of the day. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but coming into class without a game plan, right? Just doing what you taught that day.
Sure.
Or, the guys at Harrisburg, BJJ and Judo taught that day, and then just rolling, right?
Yeah.
Instead, I would come in with a game plan. You know, the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, we worked on takedowns, and every single roll, if we weren't starting on our feet, I was starting in a bad position so that I could work on positional escapes, right? So that's a prime example, right? And then when we were preparing for this competition, I started almost every roll either in my guard, in someone's guard, or in bottom side control, so I could work on those three areas.
Yeah, the efficiency that you have.
Exactly, right? And then I also would record a lot of my rolls, a lot of the training sessions that we did, so I could go back and watch them and see what I'm doing wrong, and sending them to you so that you can tell me where I'm jacked up, right, where I'm going wrong, and then actively trying to fix those things, as opposed to just coming in, training, going home, forgetting about it the rest of the day.
Sure. So with that being said, do you have like a game plan going into, you know, after this weekend, we go back to Virginia, back in the lab, as we say, back to work. What would you say would be like the top three things that you're going to focus on after this tournament?
My guard game.
So guard establish retention or just
No,
attacking?
creating offensive cycles from guard.
Okay.
Because I don't end up on bottom very often, and I
It's
don't mean to
tough.
say that.
Yeah,
Like,
ultra heavies, man.
yeah, right.
Kelly
Like,
talked about it when we were there.
yeah, he said the exact same
yeah.
thing. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, ultra heavies, man. You don't end up in like that top and bottom guard position a whole lot.
Right. And it's a whole different game when, you know, I'm on bottom against someone who's 280, 300 pounds, or my size, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to someone who's not, right? With the exception of a couple people, right? You, Martin, Diego, Pierre, right?
Yeah.
Guys that really put pressure on.
Sure.
But working on creating those offensive cycles from guard, because as we saw in that match, I got to guard. I had okay. It wasn't great by any means. It was guard retention. But I failed at the sweep, 3, 4 times because my like small details of like knee placement, things of that nature.
Recovery was good though. I remember kind of sitting back watching you kind of work through. Uh, I think some people just kind of like when you're in that defensive cycle, it's easy to quickly fall behind, like and the person just get ahead. But I think even though you weren't able to quite tip the scale into offense, you were making it tougher and tougher for him to pass. You reestablished guard a bunch of times. You get the leg lasso in, attempted to sweep. He was kind of like just right at the cusp of like being on offense and transition. So we talked about it. I wouldn't beat yourself up too much. If it was super easy, everybody would go out and win every match and you'd have a black belt in like 2 years. That's all part of it.
Wait, that's not the
yeah. It's all part of going.
Gonna continue to work on positional escapes from bad positions, specifically side control. I feel pretty decent everywhere else, and then refining my judo, because I shouldn't at this point in my mind, I don't feel like if I'm doing my judo well or I'm doing my stand up well, right? I shouldn't call it judo, right? Because I'm not a judo practitioner, but if I'm doing my stand up well with people of my own skill level, I don't feel like I should ever miss that throw.
Yeah.
Right? I've hit it on people that are a million times better than me.
Yeah. To include me.
Right? Like, there's no reason for me to miss that other than like getting in my own head.
Yeah.
So I want to refine that and make it more like second nature.
Okay. So shifting gears to the weekend champ, for the record, the three of us came down here, all intents and purposes, we put the work in. Everybody wanted to walk away with a gold medal. Marlon was the only one that was able to materialize that expectation, winning all 4 of his matches. 3 out of the 4 matches were won via submission. Shout out to Fredson. He got a wrist lock in the second one. Just one, but nonetheless, he when IBJJF puts out the submission graph, you'll be that small, like 1% on there that got the submission via wrist lock. But we've talked about it. Super proud, man, to have been here to watch you go through and experience that with you. So, with that being said, talk a little bit about your preparation coming into this competition. Being your first major, Grand Prix IBJJF competition, and then going forward. So we'll start with preparation.
I didn't do half the stuff. So let's just start with that. I actually did get a journal. I got a journal, and I think I'm gonna add that on. So I kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
But the videos, I always watch Jacques. He's got the tripod.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But it just never materialized. Because I mean, we talk about it like there's sometimes where we go to morning class.
Yeah.
Either I'm at Belvoir or I'm at the Pentagon. I'm teaching one or two of those classes, both of those classes, or he'll teach one of them if I'm up at the Pentagon, and then coming right back in the evening. So by the time the evening class, I have so much information flowing through my brain that I am happy that is my time to like put all of that information that's loaded into my brain and data dump all of it, focus on that hour class.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's really what I kind of like focused on, honestly, and just because you know how we've known each other for a while. Yet I'm being honest, but that I struggle with confidence. And I've never in my life have been involved at this type of level of competition, and I've had this much success. So I'm having a hard freaking time dealing with this right now.
It's good though, man.
It's good being uncomfortable. It's
good stress.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, and it's surreal, and it gives a little bit of clarity, just to know that you are capable.
Yeah.
To like it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. What your story is. You put the work in. You deserve everything coming at you.
Yeah.
And I feel that. Sucks that that I'm the only one that gets to experience that.
That's all good, though.
Because you already know that I'm not selfish like that.
Yeah.
I want everybody to partake, but life's not fair.
Yeah.
So it's just putting that into perspective. The preparation was because I mean we literally made this decision, like solidified this decision, like less than 3 months ago.
Yeah.
We checked that box. We're like, all right, we're doing it. And as soon as I checked that box, like my shoulder started bothering me. And I think we had the Rollicon, and that just did it in completely. And I'm really very thankful that I was able to zone in and just give everything. Just got to deal with guard. But that goes back to what you're saying.
Story of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's just like, can we please make takedowns greater? Please, it's just. It's just, but like that's something that I learned. I took that perspective that everybody has their own game that they're playing. There's a game within the game that someone else is playing.
Yeah.
And you got to play your game, and whether you're 2 steps, 3 steps behind, defensive, offensive cycle, it's still completely 100% on you to figure it out. So my guys, they were just completely 100% dead set that they were just going to go straight.
Yeah.
It upset me. You
went through offense, man.
That was it. Perfect. So I didn't. I don't think I was in the guard one time. I don't think. Which is funny because I'm in the guard every day.
Yeah.
I'm doing lasso stuff.
That's true. Yeah, you were top the whole time.
Yeah, I was on top the whole time. I don't even think I gave up a point. I gave up a couple of advantages.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's true.
Yeah. So, but I've never been in that situation before. So it's just. Stop pulling guard.
So let's talk about that. You brought up a good point, man. That I like to go back to the confidence piece. What would we'll go back to start with Jacques first. Huge competition, a lot on the line when it comes to personal exposure, maybe like the self-confidence piece, questioning your jiu-jitsu, just questioning like being in the spotlight. What helped you guys get to the point where you were able to travel here, make weight, check in, walk out to the mat, and go out and compete? No matter the outcome, what do you think got you to that point? We'll start with you, Jack.
Both of you. Like simply put,
that's it.
That's it. It's done. Over. Yeah, man. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, about having the performance anxiety, right?
Sure.
When you look at it, like anxiety and excitement, they they're the same like stimulus, right?
Yeah.
They give your body the same stimulus. I think it's about how you frame it. You say it a lot, right? It's just another open mat. You're just going to train and doing what you're doing, right? And I think what helped me a lot was attempting to frame it in that mindset because I started to think about it a lot because as like the days got closer, especially after looking at the bracket, we talked about that,
Yeah.
right? Like I was getting more and more nervous, more and more like imposter syndrome, right? Like I've only been training 9 months. I don't
Yeah.
belong here. Like, these dudes are out of my league. Um, but thinking of like what it is we're actually doing at a competition, right? Are we there to win? Are we there to lose, right? I think we placed, I shouldn't say we, I placed too much emphasis on the result, right? Um, in terms of looking at it, or as opposed to looking at it as this is just me showing up and displaying my jujitsu, my
Sure.
skill,
Yeah.
right? Um, I'm so focused on I have to be the best. If I'm not the best, then what am I doing here, right?
Yeah.
I don't belong here. I should just quit. I should give up, right?
But
And I
even the
think that's
best lose, you know.
that's true.
You,
Yeah.
you know, you got Victor Hugo and
The list
Big
goes
Dan
on.
going together, going against each other at UFC fight night. Somebody's got to lose.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so,
You're
that
absolutely
doesn't
right.
take away from either one of them. Somebody's got to lose.
I think that's exactly the point. Like stopping or stop. I'm trying to, and I'm getting better at it, but stop framing it in that mindset,
The
right?
absolute.
Like, yeah, like I have to win or I'm garbage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that's not the case. You can, I think when we frame it that way, you set your identity as an athlete in that absolute, right? Like you can still be an incredible athlete even if you lose every competition, right? Because of the work that you're putting in, not inside of that competition, right?
Yeah.
You can still be a great athlete and never perform in competition. There's tons of them,
Yeah.
right? And vice versa. Just because you win a bunch of competitions doesn't mean you're a great athlete. So I'm trying to reframe that in my head.
How about you, Marlon? What gave you the confidence to go through the training camp, as we say, travel here, make weight. You and I had to make weight. Some people didn't have to worry about making weight, but
Like 40 pounds under.
yeah, Preston jokes about it all the time, man. You lose your first match to the scale, you don't go up. So the confidence to make weight, check in and walk out on the mat, and especially for you, man, go 4-0, man. Like describe how you got to that point.
Honestly, it was taking advice that both of you guys kept talking. Just one match at a time.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna be. You go out and you do one match. This is over.
Yeah.
It's done. Not like wrestling, going up wrestling. You're at least gonna get 2 chances.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if we did that, we'd be here all week, all night. We don't have time for that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So you have however much time limit, 5, 7 minutes, whatever is the regulation. You have that amount of time to do what you need to do.
Sure.
So just that was really my mindset. And I remember back in a few months ago, back in October when I first got promoted, the COVID.
Oh yeah.
I had the imposter.
Yeah.
I was like, just like I don't belong here. These niggas, they don't smoke. Smoke check me. I'm embarrassed. Like my professor just promoted me. Like this is not going to be good. And then go out and had a great time.
First place again, yeah. You're like 4-0 in that one, right? It's either 3 or 4-0 in that
3 or
one.
4, and then, and then we go again. What to Nashville?
Nashville, that's right.
The next
Yeah.
week, the very next week,
That's
and
right.
I'm like, I don't belong here.
4-0 again.
4-0 again.
Undefeated again.
I
Yeah.
was the 5th seed, and I had the guy didn't show up.
Yeah.
My first guy didn't show up, and then I had the 1 seed, and I'm like,
Undefeated again.
it's just I haven't lost since me and that Sean was talking about today. I haven't lost in the first one. It's gonna happen. Wait for it.
Nah, I don't think like that.
But I'm just saying,
ride the wave.
What's in the exactly. You know,
Ride
I'm
the
just
wave,
like I'm
yeah.
riding this wave, and I'm gonna keep going, and that was my whole mindset. I don't care who they put on this mat with me. I know that I belong.
Yeah.
Because I've already proved it.
Yep.
Because I listened.
Time and time again.
I finally stopped being stubborn and stopped letting those stupid voices in the back of your head, you know, like, because we've all been there. Like, as soon as you listen to somebody tell you that you're doing something negative, it's like, oh, that ain't right. You know, that's impossible. Like, automatically your mindset is totally changed.
Sure. Yeah.
I was only focused on the scoreboard, the referee.
Yeah.
The guy I'm going with. That's the only thing that I was focused on. I didn't care what was going on. You know, got some stuff going on back home. You know, like that'll be there when I get back.
Yeah.
This is, you know, we talked about that too. This is our time to live selfish. You know, luckily, I'm not gonna say luckily, because again, all I wanted to do was pull guard. Stop pulling guard. But I'm just, it was like I felt like I was more than prepared.
Yeah.
I was more than prepared, and one match at a time, and that's the way to just stack them up, knock them up, and go. That was
good. Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys see yourself? Do you ever envision yourself training jiu-jitsu without competition?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. So we got conflicting views here. So we'll flip it up. Marlon, you go first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need to compete to prove myself.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, because I've been competing for so long. I've done taekwondo competitions, wrestling.
That's fair.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu, MMA. I mean, it goes back to being addicted to the grind. You know, having a purpose to wake up in the morning. You're like, you know what? I get to do this thing.
Yeah.
I don't like my work schedule. Sometimes doesn't allow for it. You know, sometimes we gotta be like, hey, where's Mom? Yeah, I'll be back in an hour and a half. You know, but it's like I really do honestly feel like super privileged that I have found the sport aspect and just the martial arts aspect.
Yeah.
It gives me a lot of clarity, it gives me a lot of purpose. And if we don't do another IBJJF or another local tournament, or it doesn't matter. You know, it's just like I'm perfectly satisfied just waking up and finding it. Because I know it makes me better, it makes me a better person, it makes me a better father.
Yeah.
You know, I'm less upset when I come home. You know, because I get to handle all my frustrations, especially with kids class. That just upsets me. And I take it out on this guy. You know, but like, I feel like I can live more.
Yeah.
You know? But and honestly, the competition, you know, we talked about this too. It's just all the competition is just proving to yourself that your jiu-jitsu and your development is either on par or in.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. To me, competition is the greatest or the most valued accelerator of your proficiency.
Yes.
Your interpretation of technique. All
it is the number one catalyst of whether or not your jiu-jitsu is effective outside of your home gym or your area or whatever. I've never rolled with any of those guys. Ever. And I came out on top. So I know that my jiu-jitsu is better than that pool of people. Yeah. So that's great, cool, awesome. We still got to go back, on Monday and
back to the grind, back in the lab. So Jacques, you're taking the megaton approach. You're gonna compete until you're like 90 years old. You'll be like the coral belts that we saw out there competing. So I am more in line with Jacques. I'm gonna compete till the wheels fall off, man. But tell us why.
Yeah, I think you said it right. The catalyst to the measure of your skill set, the measure of your jiu-jitsu. More so, it helps me personally on like a mental level, right? Because when you go in and you train without a reason, you get complacent, right? And just like anything else we do, especially in our profession, right? Complacency kills. And that could be interpreted in any way, right? And I've been complacent before, right? And I hate being that way. I hate the person I am when I am complacent, right? Because you get lazy and a myriad of other things. But having that goal, right? Whatever it may be, drives you in that direction. It increases your intentionality, as I talked to you before. But it helps me be more direct and purposeful in my training. And whether I'm winning competitions or not, I can say that now because I'm not as pissed right now.
So we should have did this yesterday.
Yeah. When I'm seething. Whether I'm winning those or not, it's still helping me improve my jiu-jitsu more than if I didn't have that goal and I was just training to train.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And nobody says that you have to compete.
No.
Yeah.
That's a big thing too.
Yeah, for sure.
You told me that. I didn't think that was possible. There's black belt, like master level black belts that have never competed.
Yeah. I think not as common, in the earlier days of jiu-jitsu, in its inception in Brazil, it was all about, competing, flying the flag for your team. And there's nothing wrong with, like you said, nothing wrong with not competing. We have students that I think will never compete. I'm perfectly fine with that, but I think for all of the reasons that we have discussed and more, just going through the process of preparing for competition and then walking out and competing, win, lose, or draw, I think that helps you as an individual develop and work through a lot of things that you can equate also in other aspects of your life.
Right.
People, I will continue to say I don't subscribe to the you never lose. You either win or you learn. You lose and you learn that losing sucks. Like, yes, you definitely learn.
That is the lesson.
Yeah,
It sucks.
but yeah, we in my opinion, we have to stop this. Like everybody participates. Yeah, everybody participates, but yes, there's winning and there's losing. Like, the understanding when you lose that losing sucks, and even if you've done all that you can to prepare, you've done everything perfect, training, preparation, practicing. Yeah, sometimes you come up short, but understanding the loss, being able to go back and working that in itself is a feat that some people can't accomplish. Like there's some people who lose and like it is just like the worst thing in the world for them, and it causes them to either quit a sport, quit doing something. But I think being able to navigate through a loss in itself is a life lesson that a lot of people should be able to navigate through. So, with that being said, next competition, have you guys thought about it yet?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I got
July. July.
Apparently, I have nothing to worry about. So.
And then whenever no gi pans is,
I already know.
And
know
worlds.
that, like I've got now probably that my name is out there. I'm more than sure that now I got a hard on.
People start looking you up in their brackets.
That's perfectly fine.
That's cool though. That's cool. Yeah.
If I everybody deserves to be in the spotlight after they accomplish something.
Sure. Yeah.
And that just means that I gotta step up my game.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that means.
But
whether I had the ranking or I don't have the ranking, I'm gonna approach it the same.
Yeah. Jacques alluded to it earlier, but I think the profession, our profession, primarily, being service members, going through the preparation of competition, competing, is very akin to preparing for doing deployment, right? Win, lose, or draw on that deployment, you come back, you have to come back, reset, and you go back and do it all over again, right? So I think in that aspect, having that experience helps people like us navigate through it a little easier. But I would ask, what would you recommend to people who don't have the same experience that we have to navigate through? I'll start with you, Jacques.
in terms of
So, we have like a similar experience being in the service to, do a workup, go out, do a deployment. Things happen on deployment, which for me personally, I think being grounded and knowing that yes, I can go out, I can dominate a tournament, be number one, get first place. I can go in a tournament like this weekend, lose my first match. I'm grounded enough to know that yes, I lost. Losing sucks, but being able to go back to work and do it all over again. I think that my experience in the military has prepared me for that. What would you recommend to people who don't have that experience?
Okay. So I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, not placing so much emphasis on the outcome,
Sure.
right? The result. Um, as you said, losing sucks, right? There's no way around it. It's going to affect you mentally.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think there's anyone in the world that loses something that's super important to them and goes, whatever.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But I think being able to take a step back, it won't happen in the moment, right? But a couple days later, and look at it objectively, right? From a growth perspective of, these are the things I did right, these are the things that I did wrong, um, and go back and improve on the things you did wrong. Because then next time, right, now you are that much better as opposed to showing up, competing, letting it affect you mentally, right, which it's going to do, but not growing from that.
Yeah.
Not growing from that adversity, right? Because it doesn't matter who you are, what your job is. Everyone faces adversity, right? In all shapes, sizes, differing forms, right? And we all handle adversity differently.
Yeah.
This is no different. Um, it's just at a little bit more of a magnified scale for people that haven't had the life experiences that some of us have had.
Sure.
Right? Because it's super important to them. They're under the spotlight. Everyone's watching.
As an individual,
exactly,
there's no
right. There's no hiding it.
Yeah.
So it's magnified, but it's still just adversity, right? It's still just one aspect of the overall goal, if you will, right, of improving your jiu-jitsu. So I think if you can learn to look at it from that perspective, you can handle it a little bit better each time, right? It's not going to happen immediately, but time and time and time again, you lose, you lose. You learn to look at it a little bit differently each time, and slowly you can start to get better and learn from those crappy feelings, that adversity, the mishaps that shouldn't have happened, right?
Yeah.
I think the hardest part of it is you put in a ton of work, right? You put in a ton of work.
Mm-hmm.
You go out there and you fail.
Right?
Yeah. It sucks. There's no way around it. But
life goes on.
Yeah, like you have to just keep going.
Yeah.
Have to.
The old adage of get back on the horse once you get bucked off. Right?
Yeah.
How about you, Marlon? Any recommendations for those who don't have some of the experiences that we have?
Just that statement, life goes on. This is we talked about this in Nashville.
Yeah.
There's a lot of life lessons that we go through daily. You are just getting smashed on fire. You're just getting smashed by life, and there's nothing you move, don't move, put your hand in the wrong place, you foot in the wrong, you turn your head the wrong way. That's you can make so many life comparisons.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you are just going to drown.
Yeah.
And you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That is, and understanding that life goes on. You still have breath in your body.
Yeah.
You still get to wake up the next morning. You still get to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, some people I know, like, especially, you know, a lot of the students, you know, at the academy, I'm not gonna say no names, but they'll come to class and they'll, you know, right beforehand we'll be talking about the session before. And we're like, I went home last night. I was looking up videos. I remember you Chris locked me like 17 times. It's not gonna happen today. And I'm like, okay, you know, now we're just gonna redo this whole cycle, you know, just to prove a point. But understand that in some cases that yes, you're gonna bang your head against.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to understand that until you break through, it's necessary.
Yeah.
If you are where you have to be in your own development, there's no fast lane, there's no slow lane, there is your lane.
That's true, man. Yeah. Yeah. Not a lot of people respect that, man. Everybody, you know, it's easy in life and in jiu-jitsu to look left and look right and go, man, you know, why is this person advancing? Why is this person
As
advancing?
soon as they call the dude up, and you just watch down
Yeah,
the line,
yeah,
and you see
yeah.
2 or 3 guys.
Promotions, yeah.
Yeah, you got a stripe. I just tapped him 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just
it is very easy to do that, but it's hard to self-reflect and like, yeah, well, this person's on a different journey, right? You know, I'm on a journey, and maybe you know, my instructor sees something different in me that you know that they know that I can appreciate a little more of the grind. And stuff like,
Professor Kelly, he talked about that.
Yeah.
At Coach Craig's.
Yep. And Craig got his black belt. Yeah.
Coach Adam was talking about it, like, why are we quitting?
Yeah.
Like, Craig was a black belt for a while.
Yeah, because Craig and I were like jiu-jitsu peers, man.
Exactly, you know, and then he came before he said anything. He was like, if you think you're worried about your promotion, I promise you, I'm worried about your promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know, and that put in perspective. Like, you know what? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That somebody was watching your back and paying attention.
Yep.
That they do not want to put something. They don't want to appoint you to a position that you're not prepared.
Sure. Yeah. I have never heard anybody say I waited too long to promote somebody ever. But I have heard people say the opposite. Man, I should have let that person stay, you know, or maybe I should have let them develop, or maybe this person was not as mature as I thought. I have never heard somebody say, "Man, I waited too long to promote." Ever.
That should be viewed honestly. I think we don't do that. Man. We should probably do that.
Yeah.
Like respect it.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Like just enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
I don't go for him 4 or 5
Yeah,
years.
but I mean that goes back to the nature of our job. The part of it was
regardless.
You bounce when you move from duty station to duty station, you go to another gym.
Just don't like the sandbagging thing. Like I get it, there are bad stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
You know that. But you know like if it's not your time, it's just not your time.
Yeah.
You need
Respect it. Yeah.
patient. Just be patient. Respect the process. Respect your position.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's something that we can make it a little bit more known.
Absolutely.
If people get frustrated, that's
it's easy. Yeah.
That's when they give up. They're like, I'm never gonna break through this wall. No, I promise you will.
They place so much emphasis on the result.
Getting that
belt.
That's true.
Right? I want that belt. I want that belt. I want that belt.
But it's not
missing all of the experience, all of the development. You know, sitting back, you're looking at one tree instead of sitting back and looking at the forest.
You don't see the forest, dude.
Yeah. You know?
Just respect that time. I'm respecting the hell out of the time. I'm enjoying it.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
Because I already know as soon as we step this game up, the bar just goes up. And I'm watching. That was something that we talked about too, like brown and black belts. Whenever they roll, somebody's got to lose.
Yeah. Bro, telling me. Telling me. Yeah.
Somebody's got to lose.
You're right.
You know, somebody has to lose. Like the blue and the purple belts, you know, most of my guys, they were pretty upset. They're because they play their game, I play mine. You know, that's what it is. But I did notice that the thing that set the brown and the black belts separate from the rest of the color belts, they embraced each other.
Yeah.
Hugged.
Yeah.
They like held on to each other. You know, they were like, good job, man. They've already been through it. You know, and there's disappointment and there's joy.
Yeah.
And that's a moment to just to have that camaraderie.
That's why I told you in this,
That's
this
all
weekend, man. Like, you shouldn't feel bad that out of us, you're the only one that won.
That's not
Yeah, but you should. I think,
I hold myself responsible for my teammates' performance just as much as mine.
Yeah, that is admirable, but you can't control the outcome of everything. I think
I joke with Jacques just to give me his ID card and show him.
go compete.
I probably should have just taken up on Don.
It would have been fine.
I'm pretty sure IBJJF has rules against that. I don't think that'll work out.
No, you don't see the resemblance?
Put it to the test sometime.
I think somebody tried that a couple months ago. You see, the guy that competed.
White belt.
Yeah, he competed white belt at Euros, but he had competed as a blue belt in like a Naga tournament or something like a couple months before. Somebody called him out.
He didn't do his registration.
Yeah. He didn't update his belt. What I was gonna say though is absolutely, it's cool that you kind of noticed that, but I think back on my days from white all the way to purple belt competing. Even if I did very well as a purple belt. But even when I had losses, it didn't feel I didn't feel as much pressure. But as you get a little more mature now, being an academy owner, being like the leader of the academy, it definitely feel the pressure. I try to not to let it get to me, but it's a mental aspect that you think about. But I have become more mature in understanding that win, lose, or draw, my reaction, my character that I demonstrate is going to be mirrored throughout everybody, right? So that is what I have focused on more. And I've been successful as a black belt. Right? American Nationals did well. No Pans, came in second. Did some LA Open. I've done well in tournaments, but the losses are the ones that you remember more because they're a little more bitter. But I have made a conscious effort to focus on my reaction, my character, how I go back and demonstrate the loss when I go back. Yeah. This has been good. Yeah, this has been good, fellas. Well, I thank you for your time. Thank you for sitting down and talking about competition. Not a lot of people are able to. We talk about it a lot. Not a lot of people are able to articulate feelings, emotions, all of the above that go into preparing for competition, the day of competition, and just showing up. Some people who are sometimes overcome by the emotions and they don't use the opportunity to step up. Thank you for your time, and tune in for more podcasts to come. Again, coming to you from Orlando, wrapping up 2024 IBJJF Pan Ams. Next tournament, I think we'll be prepping for is the Virginia Open in July. So if you're in Virginia area, always welcome to come and train with us and come check us out. See you guys later.